I want to welcome everyone to today's Rockland Board of Sewer Commissioners in-person working session, open meeting. This meeting will be recorded for playback later on YouTube and WRPS. The listings of the matters are those reasonably anticipated by the chair, which may be discussed at the meeting. Not all items may in fact be discussed, and other items may also be brought up for discussion to the extent permitted by law. With that, I'll take a motion open.
Motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion, a second. All in favor, Mr. DeRoss?
Yes.
Ms. Valley?
Yes.
And Mr. Heshion's yes, it's unanimous. See how official we are? You never know that from me being a screaming lunatic at a game. Okay.
I don't remember any of that.
With that, do we have the minutes?
The minutes were emailed for November 1st and November 9th.
Yep, I have those. I make a motion that we accept the minutes for the work session of the 1st and the 9th. All in favor?
Yes.
Mr. Ross is a yes. Ms. Valley?
Yes.
And Chucky's a yes. Robin, we're gonna put back to the end along with the admin assistants. I'm gonna move the Veolia because I'm sure that Ms. Hernan and company would like to get out of here. So with that, I'd like to discuss 109 Myrtle Street addition. The floor is yours.
Okay.
Please introduce yourself and
My name is Tom Butler. I'm a contractor from Carver, Mass. Kathy and I have done some work together over the years, and we'd like to do a 2-bedroom in-law apartment off the rear of the house. We've applied to the Water Commission already. We're waiting for their response. Town also told us we had to come here to see you. I have some copies of the plan, if you want to take a look at them. Just 1 second. Another. 4 cents.
Oh, good job. Do you want them now?
Thank you.
What we're proposing to do is to come off the back of the house, over where you see where it says washer and dryer. That'll be our access.
okay, so the top of this will be Myrtle Street?
To the left is Myrtle Street.
Okay,
It's off the paper. I didn't show the whole house.
okay.
We're going back
Yeah, into the backyard.
into the backyard. Currently, there is a garage there, which is in disrepair and it's going to be torn down. So coming out of the house, through that doorway, we'll be going down. We're changing elevations from approximately 5.5 feet off the ground for the floor to 2 feet off the floor, off the ground rather. So we're going to come down with a staircase, which is our common wall. And then we have the bathroom, 2 bedrooms, a kitchen, and a living area. One of the questions we had when Kathy had come here before, you were given these locations of the connections, but it seems to come out of 2 different locations, and we didn't quite understand what that was about. Currently, the one that I remember, because it's been almost 20 years since I put the addition on, where we're joining together in this corner, I don't know if you can, right in here, a pipe comes out right there.
That would be the clean out.
So, yeah, it's a PVC pipe. So that's what we're trying to determine, if that's where we're
So
connecting to.
you will be building that addition on this side, correct?
If I come around.
I knew you would.
Well, if this is the front, if this is Myrtle Street out
Yeah.
here, we're going back.
Over on this side?
Over on this side, yep,
Which side? This side?
yep, we're gonna come back that way, correct. And it's gonna come to approximately here. We can't go any further that way because we're almost on the lot line as it is. We're at the 11 feet that the building department's allowing us to be, instead of the, I believe it's 15, because we're so far back from the road.
So where are you proposing to tie in?
Well, I was hoping I was gonna be able to tie in where it came out of the back of the house, since it would be,
So you'd have to go like this?
Well, no, we're gonna be, yeah, let's see what we go. I got another copy, I haven't got it. The pipe comes out right here. You know, from what I remember, comes down from the second floor, picks up the first floor bathroom, which is here, and comes out. So we're gonna try and tie in here if we can. So we can tie the kitchen and the bathroom all in together.
Do you get a lot of wire?
Excuse me?
You gotta put a wire, you bring it all up.
You probably have to put a Y in to catch both of them.
You gotta put a clean out there too, right?
Right.
Yeah, I'd have
Yeah.
it clean out
We're gonna,
here.
it's gonna be a full basement.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
On the new addition?
This here is
Yeah.
open space between the existing house,
Yeah,
because we're gonna be blocking the windows for the kitchen, and we don't wanna do that. So that's why this approximately 4.5 feet space is. So we could, you know, tie in, you know, run this way and tie in, everything would be in here. The clean out and the Y.
yeah, I'd have no problem if you did that.
You know, it'd be somewhere in there,
And
tie
you have
in.
over here, right?
It'd be right here.
Where my, is that where my,
Yep, right in that
Yeah,
area,
yeah.
right there, yep. Yep.
Okay,
It seems to
it'd
come
be
out
all
now,
PVC
right up
piping.
there.
It'd be all PVC pipe.
Yeah, that'd be no problem, huh?
I mean, at one point in time, this had been, you know, cast iron. But when we did the addition on the second floor 20 years ago, most of that got eliminated. You're coming down, the first floor bathroom got changed to PVC,
Yeah.
and now it's PVC in the basement and then out.
Yeah, that'd be no problem. You see anything of that?
no, I see nothing. As long as it's clean out there for the people.
Right.
Is it your house?
It's
Yes,
my
it
house.
is, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, we have to be careful, you know, we have to be careful with her, you know?
No, that'd be cool.
Yeah.
And you're not subject to the moratorium.
Okay,
Okay.
yeah, so we were told we were, that's why we
No, you were not.
ended up at the meeting and ended up here. So-
4 units or more, and something like this is no problem.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's, well, actually, see if you can help us one more time.
Sure.
What do you think this is about? I mean, we got different distances.
I have no idea.
Would that be the old
18.5?
septic?
Could be.
Because the old, see, so we moved in, I was thinking my daughter, so 35, 36 years ago.
Same
And it
way.
was sewerage at the time, but I believe the old septic is, you know, like where the, where the garage is and the
Mhm.
basketball hoop and stuff is.
They were
I
supposed,
believe in front of there
In front of
is
that
where
area.
that septic tank was, and the only reason I kept thinking about that, there was like rock fill or something, there was something right there. So I wonder if that's what that
That
is.
could be. Because when, can I have that?
That might
Which one,
be
this
what
one?
the
Yeah.
thing is, you'll,
If it's coming out more off the kitchen,
Because this is 107 here.
well,
yeah, because it's
and, you know,
107 that way.
Obviously, it comes up this way. They're just showing the distance to where it crosses the road on this one, I'm assuming. You know, comes out of the road. Because it goes up the side of the house and then over this way.
over there.
where's Myrtle Street?
You know, off of
So
Exchange,
right now,
right
the
behind
line
Holy
is
Family
coming up
Church.
right here.
Yeah, right
I know I've seen it, but I
And
couldn't
we do it.
picture it.
there. Yeah, I'm like that all the time. I always go up and down that road, and I'm like, where the heck is it?
I live on the other side of town,
Okay.
We're coming right straight
the
back.
forgotten side.
Yeah, either way, you don't have a
I
problem
would
with
think the
that.
same.
Okay. Like I said, we applied to the town, well, trying to get a working plan with the building department. They sent us here.
Yeah, tell them,
They sent us to the water department. We're waiting to hear from the water.
Yeah, I think though for the water, I think she said if you sign off on something, that they would sign off on it.
yeah, no.
And then we, you know, like I said, we were told by Tom Rubles, is that his name? That this moratorium was in effect, so that's why he sent us.
Yeah, the moratorium is for 4 units or more, and
Okay.
single-family residents are exempt from that.
Okay.
Well, that's good news.
No, I'll make the motion that we accept the plans and submitted at 109 Myrtle Street.
107.
107, excuse me.
107,
107 Myrtle Street. Do I have a second?
second,
All in favor, Mr. DeRoss,
yes.
Ms. Valley,
Yes.
and Mr. Hessian's going to abstain due to a relationship.
Are you putting a basement in?
And that new, yeah,
It's 109, right?
What
The
else?
high water Yeah, you got table. one on there, man.
Yeah, I know, I put it by mistake.
No, I don't accept
It's a
it.
high water.
I'm gonna accept it, I know some of them.
Well, I have a full basement in my home.
You know, you gotta get the drain layout,
But is it gonna be lower?
Yep.
license drain layout,
Because you're going down
No
2
problem.
feet.
Okay.
at all.
No,
Anything
I
you
think it's
can
gonna be
call.
the
Okay,
same.
okay. You keeping those,
Fine.
you wanna keep those plans for your record?
Keep
I'm
Yeah.
gonna keep them for mine, yep.
Well, he
I
has
can
it
keep it,
just
if you
like-
need it, I'll keep it right there.
Like,
I
you
think
know,
to my
your basement
grandchildren.
You'll be
have like
submitting
a,
as-bills, right?
Some pump?
Yeah.
Some pump it.
I would do my grandson take a draw
But it
on it.
has over the years periodically.
Talk to
Whatever
Tom,
you do.
if he needs
Oh,
it,
the house
email
is
me
right
or
up the street
anything,
has
the
it.
minute
Okay.
should
They're
be
always
sufficient
pumping
that we
Yeah,
approved
no,
it.
mine's
Okay.
fine.
Okay, no.
So just have to have
Yeah.
clean outs, that's all we say. Just
Yeah.
warning you.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were
Probably
originally
put it in
thinking
the
of putting
basement
crawl
and come out.
space.
Yeah, it would be in the basement.
Yeah.
I mean, everything's gonna
Versus
tie
that.
in the basement and
No,
then go
basement's
out.
fine, as
It'll
long
be a
as
clean
there's no
out.
water. There's
Inside.
water?
Okay,
I know.
All right, thank you very much.
that's okay.
Okay.
Tell Brianna I said
I
congratulations,
will. I will
son-in-law.
tell her. I know, I saw Sarah and Brian recently, just a few weeks ago. I hadn't seen them forever.
Oh, yeah, they're doing well.
Yeah, they are. Yeah. All right, very good. Thank you,
Thank you very much
everyone.
for your time.
Thank you.
We appreciate it.
Whose department is this gonna be?
Order update.
Yours?
Eventually. Eventually. It's gonna be my
See, that
daughter's
is the
for a little
plan.
bit, save some
We're
money,
planning
and
for
it's
the
gonna be
future.
mine.
Have a nice holiday.
So I don't have to do this twice.
No, you don't want
Okay, I'd
to.
like to move on to the EPA update. I'll go to the Viola Project Manager update. Due to the confusion of the transition from Suez to Veolia, there's been some delay in getting the invoices out. It was $4,200 for the month of September, $5,200 for the month of October, which I expected to be high, and that was all on the submittal work. There is no way the rest of this is gonna be as high, so I think it worked very well, helped us get caught up. The only thing that I have on his project list right now is, due to the ARPA requirements for the grant on the I&I work, we had a one-year monitoring plan that we had approved to go out, approved with Weston Sampson. To comply with ARPA, that had to go out to bid, There is a scope prepared. I will send that out. I just got that in the mail a little while ago, email. I proofread it, made some recommendations to changes. He's gonna get that back to me around 3 o'clock today when we call, and I'll get that out to you for your review. So you'll have that for next week. They put a significant amount of effort, being Weston Sampson, into preparing that bid package. So I asked them to prepare the scope of work, which they're gonna do at no charge, but I'm also gonna allow them to bid on it. I think that's only fair to recoup the time that they had put in on the job. They didn't, none of us knew about opera at the time and the requirements. And this is gonna be based on qualification bid. The way it looks now, and don't quote me to this, but the package will go out to bid within the next week to 2 weeks, week and a half, I'd say. Bids will be due January 6th of 2023, which still gives us plenty of time to get that in motion with the I&I work. The I&I work proposals, the bids should be coming in. I believe the date to open them is December 16th,
16 or 13?
whatever that Friday is.
Okay.
December 16th.
Okay.
At 2 o'clock up at Town Hall, 2:30 at Town Hall. And it'll be an open public meeting that will open those bids at the conference room upstairs at Town Hall. We'll have that meeting there. Now, with the EPA update, naturally going to attorneys got to get their 2 cents in. So there were some very, very minor changes to that, the verbiage, which we agreed to and got that out. I have the final draft on my desk at home. It went down to John Clifford to be reviewed. And the changes were all made by the council. There's 2 small changes to footnotes. And they were really insignificant changes. So that should be going in tomorrow, so we met the November deadline. Now, the way I had to set this up so you guys know that, and the residents know, that this was a very busy report to put together, only because we had to accumulate a lot of data for the first report, semi-annual submittal. The way we structured this, that everything from here on in is just going to be cut and paste. So it's going to be a running tally of all our actions and whoever takes over for us in the future. So it should be a very easy document to be put together, because everything is just going to be from the I&I work and from sampling. So it's going to be a very easy document to keep up with. Next on the agenda is 513 West Water Street inspection request. I had a request to inspect the residents at 513 West Water. Couple requests. One was from the building department. They had put up an addition. I don't quite remember the date, so I'm not going to say it, but if the addition was completed, it included a bathroom. They never pulled any permits from building or sewer or water. And what they did is they tied into an existing lateral. So what I'm going to insist is that it's a raised addition. You could look, the homeowner wasn't there, so all I could do was look under. I could see where the clean out is, the PVCY, and they connected into the lateral. So there is some small trench work still there, but I'm going to request that they excavate that, and I want that plumbing inspected for the town. So I'll be drawing up that. I should have had that letter drawn up, but it was a busy week, so I'm going to put down that for my letter by tomorrow for Robin. So that's where that one went. 601 Hingham Street. 601 Hingham Street experienced a significant blockage and backup on Saturday, I want to say the 20th of November. I was on my way out of state. Veolia responded, Dan went down, and the bottom line is there was 8 to 12 inches of sewerage that entered into a finished basement, it came into a finished addition in an older basement. It rendered the home unlivable. Clean Harbors was notified, insurance claim was filed, Clean Harbors, ServPro was notified, and they are still working on the remediation, pumping it out, tearing out the drywall, and what have you. So right now, as far as I know, it's going to be in the hands of the insurance companies and town council, because I sent them an email a little while ago, this morning. I had a conversation with the homeowner last night. I advised council what the homeowner said, her requests, her concerns, and I asked them to please advise the board on how to handle this in the future. So basically, I'm not doing a Pontius Pilate and washing my hands of it, except when you're dealing with insurance companies, I have a bad feeling where this is going to go. So I want to make sure that we're covered, we don't overstep our bounds, and we don't interrupt the remediation of the people. I do want to go on record that considering how people would react with 8 to 12 inches of raw sewage in their basement, the people I met, the homeowner and the brother-in-law who was the contractor who built their addition, are probably the nicest people I have ever met in my life. I mean, they're very pleasant.
I knew people he knew and everything else.
Yeah, and it was just, when you could think they could have been at our throats, they weren't. Now, there was a concern that where 601 is located, it's located in between the pump station at Hingham North and Hingham South. That Monday on November 14th, we had a backup at Hingham North. It was a communication error in the SCADA system. SCADA system's a communication system, the computer system. A Veolia operator responded at 5:30 in the morning. He checked it out, cleared the alarm, and he pumped down the wet well. So Hingham North was running fine. I came back on Monday and I spoke with Rick, and I asked him to be on the safe side. I wanted to see the computer reports from Hingham North and Hingham South, because the blockage would have been from Hingham South, pushed it back to the low point. The computer system showed that both systems, both pump stations, were functioning normally as they should. So it was a definite blockage. And if people are wondering how it got into the home, Hingham North pumps out at 500 gallons a minute of sewage to a 10-inch main. That sewage, it comes out in a force main into the holding, then it goes gravity fed to Hingham South. So if you've got 500 gallons a minute pushing into a full wet well, pushing it, it wouldn't take long to push that into a house. Matter of fact, every time the pump station kicked on, the toilet seat at 601 would flap up and the stuff would come out. So they had to kill that station. Again, one other thing, I want to thank Dave Taylor. He also responded that morning till Dan got there. Dan showed up at my request for the sewer commissioners, because I wanted to give them a visual assurance that we're not going to leave them high and dry. But this is definitely probably going to go further than the board can handle. With that, as I said, other listings that may be brought up. We just had this morning another backup at 268 Concord Street down here. What had happened, the roots in concrete broke through a clay pipe and blocked the pipe. It did not get into the home. They caught it in time. The crew responded, Roto-Rooter responded, found the blockage. The blockage is about 10 feet off the street on the customer's lateral. So they're going down to excavate. They're at their site now excavating now, but that water table's so high it's filling up, and they're gonna have their hands full this afternoon. But
How did they catch that?
I imagine plugging the toilet, it's locked up, and then they called Roto-Rooter when they couldn't clear it with the plunger. That's an old main anyway, that's a,
So one of the originals.
yeah, that's a 30-inch main I think it's a 30-inch main. It's not a 10-inch, I know that. So they're gonna install, now, to go through that from the home, there's a circular driveway. There's a big nice retaining wall, and the blockage is out here. Well, they identified where the blockage is, so I had them go back 8 feet here, and from the street as much as they could. But now because of where the pipe is, they have to keep expanding the pit. I had them get the what do you call those retaining walls? What do you call them?
I forget now.
Those
They're
big
stuck.
metal things,
Yeah.
yeah.
A box, they call it the box.
To the box, the box to keep them out. But they're gonna have to go wider. It said that the pipe was 6.5 feet down. They went down 7 feet, so I hadn't found the pipe. They uncovered crushed stone, so its pipe is right underneath there, but that water table from the golf course in the swamp is filling it in. So
You have to have a good pump to work at.
they're working on it, and they stopped the pump for a couple of minutes. It filled right back up. So I think they'll be there tonight. Now, the Rockland-Abington Sewer Agreement is the next on the agenda, and this is going to warrant from some discussion. You all saw the emails from Town Council? For those of you watching at home, Rockland accepts 100 to 110,000 a gallon day of Abington sewerage. There was an original agreement put in place in 1983. In 2007, there was a draft renewal put in place, which was never signed. So the original Abington-Rockland sewer agreement is in place from 1983. The way that was uncovered was somebody did a document request from Abington for some work and wanted to see that agreement, and it came to being. I had written town council back a year ago, last year, that I wanted to look at that agreement to renegotiate it given our circumstances, and was told we couldn't because even he thought that agreement was in place. So now we're at a point that they got to renegotiate that agreement. You saw the email. Do you have a copy of that with you, Sherry?
Yep. You wanna look at it? I don't have the email, just the.
You don't have the email?
I don't have it printed, no.
Okay. The email was from Town Council Attorney John Clifford, stating that they had experience doing those sort of things and that they'd be willing to renegotiate that for the town, or they may have to for the town council, I'm not sure. But he wants to set up a meeting with us at our earliest convenience to discuss that.
Yeah.
I cannot make next Tuesday, so I'm gonna ask you if you could next Wednesday. And we wanna ask the town council in, or do you wanna wait till after Christmas?
Wednesday's fine for me.
How's Wednesday for you?
I have to look, I got a doctor's, I had an appointment next week, I don't know what dates, and I'll let you know.
I'm gonna wait till you hear from you.
Okay.
So what I'll do is we'll schedule that to set the date next week for the meeting on Wednesday. If you don't mind, if it's a problem, let me know and you can have it Tuesday without
Wednesdays are
me.
working better for me lately.
Wednesdays?
Yep.
Okay. We can bring Robin in now if you wish.
Sure.
Twelve's Wednesday, right?
You free?
Right.
I got a dentist appointment that day, and a doctor's appointment Thursday, and we get the skin doctor next week, I think. Never a down moment.
Busy, busy.
Before Robin starts, I just bring up the date with Wilkinson and the digester piping. This should have gone in under Veolia. We've been going back and forth on Wilkinson coming in and fixing that piping. This was a contract that was signed early last year. And kind of find out that work should have been done September 22nd. It's forced us to rent a generator for that and the oil consumption's an animal. So
For the piping or the digester?
digester. We just got the piping designed today. I haven't looked at that yet. I have a conference call with Veolia when I get out of here to go over the drawings for that.
Okay, and that has to go through procurement.
Absolutely, yeah. That my guesstimate on that piping, it's going to be in the $250,000-$300,000 range, stainless steel piping.
Mhm.
Miss Day, you're on.
Oh, my turn. All right, before we start, I want to give this to Sherry. I left you a copy of the warrant.
Yes.
But that has an R&M fee on there for the police detail,
Thank you.
so I wanted you to have that. All right, so the first thing I have is the intermunicipal agreement with Abington.
We were just talking about that.
All right. Last I heard it was forwarded to legal,
Mm-hmm.
and is that it?
Yep, and what we're gonna do is they're gonna get together, Dan and Sherry are gonna give me a date where John Clifford or Chris Kenny wants to come in and talk about it with the board. I'm not sure if he wants to do that in open session or executive session. I think the basics of it is it just should be open session, I mean. I don't think there's anything, but we'll let that be up to him to come in and
Mhm.
tell us about how they wanna handle it.
All right. It kind of looked like it was a perpetual contract, but
Well, see, that's what I was explaining to them. I guess it went into effect in 1983. I had approached Chris Kenny back last year about when we knew all this stuff with the work that was going on, if we could renegotiate it for the pricing. And he said, oh, there's one in place. And we were both under the assumption, and I guess you found out through a request of information.
well, when Keith was here, him and Biz discussed, they knew that it was expired and they had a discussion about renewing it, but it didn't last that long, so. And we've been billing them based on that contract well after the 25 years, and it looks like the language doesn't say that it ends, but it can be revisited, so. It's probably a good idea anyway, because I'm sure the pricing might be outdated
Oh, I'm sure.
by now. All right, so there's that. The next thing is 1015 Hingham Street. He was looking for a letter, Jim at Balsamo Construction. I thought maybe, were you gonna sign the permit at the job site?
I was gonna sign, yeah, no one, I told Tom that, no one got back to me, so.
Okay, so are we sending them the letter then?
Sure, do you have a form letter, or?
I can make a letter.
Okay,
I can do that today. I thought you had signed the original permit in lieu of a letter, so we wouldn't have to.
no, I did not sign anything.
All right. I was trying to get out of it. Didn't work.
And that,
All right.
so help me out, that letter is for.
That we approved the
10:15.
project.
That permit was
The
originally,
final approval, is
Yeah.
what you said.
that was originally approved as a marijuana dispensary.
Yep, oh, I'm aware of the property, I just didn't know what we were
Okay.
doing with the
I'm
letter.
not sure why he needed that letter now at this late date, but he did request it, so. Excuse me. I received a telephone call from Imad Zareen. He's a civil engineer regarding 258 Union Street. That's an existing gas station. It's up by Town Hall, you know, the
Yeah.
blue building. He's proposing a mixed-use commercial on first level, residence on levels 2, 3, and 4, so obviously they want to increase the height of the building. He has preliminary plans, and he'd like to come before the board. Don't think he's been in front of other boards yet, but he just wanted to get the ball rolling and see if he had any thoughts on his plans while he's proceeding.
Sure, do you think he could wait to the January meeting?
I can, yeah,
So will there be
Should they-
3 units in that or 4 units? Get considered.
looks
don't
like he
know.
said 2, 3, and 4th levels, so those were gonna be housing.
So we'll see how many
Is it
units.
Zoning
Yeah, it
first?
depends how many units.
Yep. But let him come in and explain so we know we get from the horse's mouth.
So, and this is how people end up having one of those worksheets, because we know it's coming. Yeah.
Yes, and this is going back to what I
Yeah.
looked for, our department worksheet.
Right, so there's a
Okay,
whole bunch of them
so-
in there that these people have never come in front of us, but we
Yeah.
heard about it somehow, and we create just a shell, so we know, oh yeah, remember those people said they were coming? Or they were gonna do this project or that project, half of them don't even come to fruition. But that is how a page is generated, so put him on the agenda for January.
Could I have his name again, please?
I'm probably killing his name, Imad, I-M-A-D, Zareen, Z-R-E-I-N, he's a civil engineer. And it's 258 Union Street, the
Yeah, I'll just
existing
put down
gas station.
258 Union Street on the agenda.
Is that what you said, the town hall?
Yeah, the blue.
The old
Gas
mobile,
station?
yeah.
We had voted one time to purchase that,
Yeah,
the town, and then
I thought we did own that, you know, now that you said that?
it didn't happen. I wanted
don't
us
know
to
why.
own it as well, but,
It's
Mhm.
contaminated.
oh, is that what happened?
oh, big time.
All right, so 601 Hingham Street, did you already address that
Yes.
issue? Okay.
Just so you know where that's going. You forwarded me that email. I called her last night at her request, spoke with her. There is an insurance claim out. What I did is she gave me her immediate concerns. I documented them and I sent them just before I came here, sent the email to Chris Kenny with those concerns and asked him to advise us on how to proceed from here. I think what I'll do is I did not put you on the CC. I think I'll forward that email to you so you have a copy for the files.
Yep, thank you.
Let me copy.
Just so you know, I also am keeping track of, like, we had to pay for a police detail, we had a couple of R&M expenses and I'm expecting a few more, and I kept them separate in our insurance file, just in case, I don't know if you're gonna need to reference all the expenses, but I don't wanna have to pull them later.
No, we're gonna
Good
probably
idea.
have to pull all
Yeah.
the expenses. There's
Good
gonna be
idea.
a definite insurance claim.
All right,
I'm gonna email, did I have any other correspondence with them? No. One other thing you should make note on that, she is hospitalized right now.
Can't say.
I don't.
No, I know that, but I'm just saying, well, she's in,
But
Stop.
I'll talk to you in my office after.
okay, but I was gonna say point of contact, okay.
All right, so the next thing, the sewage notification grant program, which Rick was supposed to forward it to Kevin Olson, Jen, and the sewer commissioners.
Oh, yes.
Okay, so the deadline for that is tomorrow, but Rick reached out to Kevin Olson, who reached out to the DEP, and it came back that the effluent meter would not be covered by that grant. I don't have the details of it. It
No.
was a short correspondence from Kevin Olson.
No, that was a shot in the dark anyway.
Yeah, it was worth a try though.
Yeah. Can't score unless you take a shot.
All right, so ARPA documentation, I just put this in here so I could keep track of it. So the Rockland rink sign off. The last time that we met was November 17th. Bob Galvin was to handle that.
Yep.
Is there an update on that?
No, he has not gotten back to me.
All right, so 11/29.
Rockland Rink?
Would you, yes, Monahan Rink.
Mine.
Would you like me to call Bob and ask him status?
Yeah, I think that'd be a great idea. And then okay, so the remediation matrix and the build-outs, you had a question for me, Sherry, and it was about Park and Howard. So Park and Howard never came before sewer. We've never seen plans. We don't have a Form K. They own two corners of that intersection. So they originally, must have been a conversation with one of the superintendents. We're going to develop both sides of that corner. That's where the first page came in. The reason why there's a second page with different numbers is because they decided, well, let's develop only one corner on that intersection, and that's the second one.
That discussion about the other one corner came due to the fire that
No.
was over in that.
Yeah, so that's why there's two with different numbers on them. One was obviously much bigger,
Yeah,
with
so
280 bedrooms, and
which
then the
is-
other one is 70.
So we're going with the 70 bedroom?
Well, we're not going with anything, because they haven't
No.
come in front of
Yeah,
us.
they-
That's one of those
But
things
that's the
where we
most recent.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so that doesn't exist as far as we're concerned right
they
now.
could come back and say, oh, we're gonna do both corners again. It was just,
Okay,
we wanted to know that something was coming at us.
okay.
So the IPP permit and audit. But we having a meeting,
We were, and with the holidays and 6 and 1, it's been booblated. Why don't you pick a date at your convenience in time next week that you, Rick and I can sit down?
all right, because we're gonna have to add the dental offices and the car wash. And there's also a restaurant at Monahan Rink
Mm-hmm.
that has a grease trap. It was in their specs when they went in. We're gonna have to add that. So the IPP is 3 sections. There's zero discharge, and restaurants.
Mhm.
They all get permitted. The permit's good for 2 years. Restaurants have a requirement to have their grease traps cleaned. We send the superintendent out there to meet. So they're not really our clients, but the superintendent meets out there at that location to supervise the clean out, just to make sure the tank is intact.
Stuff.
If anything is not, as part of the IPP program, we need to notify the owner of the tank and get that fixed. So there's that, or if there's excess grease, we find out why, maybe we need to change the rate of clean out. So that's why they're out there for that. So Monahan Rink has a grease trap. We're gonna have to figure out how often they're gonna use it, the tank size, and where it fits.
Is that going to the septic or sewage?
They're on sewage.
Is that the kitchen?
Right, but the grease goes to the grease
It
trap.
goes to a separate trap.
Yeah, and then there's a clean out of that. But as part of the IPP program, we set the rate at how often they're cleaned, how big the tank is and all that. Those are the parameters that must come out of either the NIFTY's permit or the DEP that I'm not familiar with.
Can I ask you one question on that? I know the brewery is zero discharge, but are they gonna be included on that as well?
That's
listing.
up to you.
I would kind of include them, just some kind of periodic, because a brewery can raise absolute havoc on a wastewater system.
So to add it for a zero discharge, so let me just back it up. For zero discharge and discharge, there's certain parameters and they get a certain type of permit. unique to either their zero discharge or their discharge or a restaurant. I was concerned that with the new NIPD's permit, those chemicals that get measured, that they report to us, I can't understand that. I have the plant manager read those and tell me if they're within the parameters. If something new now comes at me, the only new one that I've done since John Laughlin retired was a restaurant, which was a fast food restaurant that we were able to model after an existing. So I already had those specs available to set them up. To set someone up as a zero discharge, I have existing specs that I believe are subject to change with the new NIPD's. And that's why I wouldn't know how to set up a permit for them. And that's probably something we'd have to discuss in that meeting.
Okay.
So there was the restaurant, what was the other one that you just said?
The brewery
The brewery.
on, not Pleasant Street, VFW.
And I think you're right, because they're a zero discharge, but if they ever violate, they would have to meet the parameters of the permit that we issued and notify us. And right now, we haven't issued a permit to them because we don't have a superintendent to supervise that whole process.
Mhm.
I've been winging it and for 3 years, okay, but I can't do a new one like that.
Okay.
If it was another Burger King, I could do it, but. All right, so 513 West Water Street.
13?
Yeah, 513 West Water. We had a concern that they had put in an addition, I believe,
Yeah.
that was unpermitted years ago, that was discovered by the building inspector, and we had a question whether it went over the existing lateral.
They did tap into the existing lateral. So what I'd like to do is write them a letter with Tom.
Did they put the addition on top of it?
Over it, yep.
Oh, they did. Yikes.
It's a raised addition with almost like a crawl space underneath that hasn't been sealed up. I went down and then I went down again with Gary. The owners were not there. But I could visually see underneath the building where the new PVC piping went in with the clean out. And you could see the trench work of where they tied into, obviously, the lateral. So we're gonna want that excavated and inspected.
I don't know what the procedure would be for that.
Well, I can write them a letter, or maybe I should do that in conjunction with Tom.
Okay, so before we do that,
We took pictures.
even though they didn't apply for a permit, I just came across another case where they added an addition that was permitted and they ran the lateral under the addition the same way, and it's an open crawl space trench. There's a problem under there now that has to be corrected. That was a permitted job, so I'm not sure if, even though they didn't pull the permit, we wouldn't have approved that. We probably would have approved that since we approved other people to do that.
Yeah. No, you're right, precedent.
So I don't know if you wanna make them tear it up. Can you inspect it by crawling under there? Do you wanna wait until there's a problem?
Well, see, you could visually see it. I'm not sure how far down he has to go. That other example that you gave,
You can see it. Yeah, so that was a cast iron pipe that they went over with, they left it, open. You can see it from the ground, then they tied it into PVC to bring it into the,
well, aside
Up
from
to the street.
video, aside from excavating, we could have them video it from the clean out. Let me try to think this through. Yep, you can get at it. We could ask them to video that from the clean out. That's a video inspection.
right, and then we could put that in their,
Yeah.
file.
Could you? Yeah, Enviro Insight can do that, but there must be other companies that could do that.
That's place of
Lots of
Boston.
people do it.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think, I'm trying to do where that clean out was, getting at it. They got the room. Yeah, no, we can ask for zero, they can be done.
Holy can do it too.
Yes.
No, I just wanted to make sure they had the room to, but they do, I know they do. So we have to write a letter to the home, and I'm speaking out loud to make sure I'm correct, the letter to the homeowner.
Yep,
right? Asking for a video inspection of that.
Yeah, and you probably should put in the language that you became aware of it and it was not permitted at the time, and that you want to
Yeah,
document it for the file.
do they have to pay fees too? Because they put it in and pay the fees.
It was just a permit fee at the time, I think it was $50 or $100. I don't know if you wanna run that by legal, I don't know what the
Yeah, I
procedure
think,
is
you know,
for that.
I'm thinking that I should, I'm gonna talk to Chris on that. I could do that there when I talk to him on the other one.
Legal to check on what?
On how I should word that letter to 513.
That came about because so the new permitting process that's online, they wanted us to sign off on, I don't even remember what it was, but it
I don't
wasn't
either.
really, we weren't really affected by it until we were told that it was an unpermitted addition at the time that it went in. And then that's when it became a concern. But the work that they're currently doing really didn't require.
Didn't
Yeah,
affect
no.
it.
All right, so why do I have this? Oh, so Merrill Engineers had called, there's a two-family home on Cary Street that they wanted to get on the wait list. Oh, and you said book them at a future meeting. Sorry, repeat. Yikes, do that
Want to do them for January as well?
for January?
That gives two.
Was it build a new house?
I think it was an existing house that they were converting to a two-family, and we were concerned that if it was a three-family or more, it would require remediation and stuff, but it was just a two-family.
Cary Street's the one that goes from North Avenue into Reed Street, Lower Reed.
So the desktop,
Oh,
the
yeah.
Veolia, and the GIS. So the desktop is for them, so they run software, that's where they get the numbers for the monthly operating report. They run that on one of our desktops, and the one they have is on its last leg, so Gino was working on that. So the latest is that he's working on that and the GIS. Both of them had a little glitch that he was gonna work out, and so I think this morning Rick said next week. they
That's
should
Gino,
have-
yes.
Yeah, okay. So that's those
Aren't they
two.
getting iPads too?
They're getting
we
two
have-
iPads for the, one for sewer, one for Veolia and one for the sewer superintendent.
Yeah.
Right, so
So
that,
it's
those
different
two,
from the desktop.
yeah, so the desktop is to run the other software,
Okay.
and the iPads are for the GIS system. We have a 10-inch and a 12-inch, we give the
Yep.
10-inch to Veolia, and they're gonna have to get trained on it through, is it Environmental Partners, or is it GIS? Yeah.
And I asked Robin to be the administrator of that, so she has the passwords.
Passwords, excellent.
And then we decided to set them up with an email address through the town that will remain the same, so that,
Yes.
instead of assigning it to someone with a
Yeah.
Veolia email address and they change personnel or whatever.
There's a-
Yeah.
Yeah, makes perfect sense.
Did anybody go to the ZBA meeting for Pond Street, for the shingle mill project?
I did. Well,
Oh, you
I
did,
observed it.
I'd like to stop this conversation.
Why?
Potential conflict of interest.
Yes, they have a conflict of interest on that.
Oh,
You
All right.
can-
All I can
just-
tell you is that was continued.
okay.
That's all we have
The
to
only
say.
reason why I bring it up is I don't think the new girl over there realizes that we close at 3:30, and she sent an update about the meeting and a link at 4:30. And I
Yeah.
didn't see it until the next day, and then I was like, I don't know if you guys were keeping tabs on that, or?
No, that was continued, and I think
Okay.
it's going to Concom again in December. The issue is still the zone A.
All right. So anyway, I was gonna apologize for that, because I got it so late.
No, it wasn't your fault. It was-
We're still waiting for that IPP permit from the one that I issued for the one company that changed names.
Yeah.
And then, that's it.
Let's talk about the admin assistant system. Anything from Stacy yet?
No,
As far as a
nothing.
job description, I asked her to ship you the most recent job description for you to critique, mark up, and you had the plan about long-term training and all that in it.
I did, so that wouldn't go into the job description, it was just my thoughts on it, probably come up during the job interview process, but I will follow up, with Stacy on that, see if she might have given me that, I don't know. We went back
I
and
know I
forth a couple
saw
times, so
one,
I'm not sure if
but-
I'd have it back, or if I gave it to Stacy.
This is going a week before Thanksgiving. I
Yeah.
could have forwarded it to you. So hopefully you do have something.
Yeah,
If not, I'll send you what I have on mine.
yeah. Yeah, if I might have dropped the ball on that, I don't remember how it went, if Stacy sent it to me and it went back and forth, so,
It's been 92 weeks,
well,
Yeah.
more longer for some
Yeah,
of us.
regarding this though,
Well,
we
longer
have,
than
we
that.
have some considerations between a temporary hire and a permanent hire. If it's gonna
Right.
be a permanent hire, it has to go through budget process and town meeting.
right, so then we
Yeah.
have plenty of time.
Yes. If it's temporary, we can do it now until we find a superintendent.
Well, what I was
So
going
it
to
kind of-
propose is a temporary, and then for the town meeting, propose it be made full-time.
Mhm.
That way there we get the body in here, hopefully sooner
The
rather
only
than later.
hiccup is if we get a superintendent in between this. After
Right,
we've hired it
But I
as
don't,
temporary.
I don't really have a need for a temporary person, honestly. I don't wanna take the time to
The time.
train someone that's not gonna be here, because I might as well just.
All right, then you know what, Robert,
I
we'll let
agree.
you
I think-
coordinate it,
Should,
how you wanna frame it in. We have to go to a town meeting.
for a permanent hire. Yep,
We'll
I'll
write
put it in
the
the whole
article.
budget process as a staff
Okay.
ad and so forth.
If I bring her in
So,
first.
can
Yeah, I don't
you-
see that
do this
position going
part-time,
away, to be
and
honest
then-
with you.
I don't either. I think it's gonna remain as a full-time, but it's
Yeah.
just a matter of,
Get them
Oh.
in.
What's gonna
Yeah.
remain as a full-time?
Your assistant, an assistant position,
a part-time.
permanent.
Oh, you mean
Part-time.
permanent for
We put
part-time?
the second floor up for.
With all these empty rooms around here, I'm sure we could fit somebody
I wonder,
somewhere.
no,
But,
that's not on
Robin,
it, I
can
want
you
that
wait
one.
until July?
Honestly, I've been
To hire.
down here for 3 years. The first year by myself, the second year with David for 10 hours, then Keith for 5 months, then David for 10 hours. I mean, I'm stressed out and overworked, but I'd rather wait and get a permanent part-time person that
Can you
could be
hang on?
beneficial to the department.
Okay.
Yeah,
I think that's the smarter move, but
yeah. So part of
my
the,
concern is your workload and
I know, I am a little bit behind. I'll probably have to do a little overtime to catch up, but, so, I was just gonna say something about that and I forgot. Yeah.
Senior moment.
What?
Oh, don't start that. Okay, so we'll
I'm
proceed
filing a
with it.
grievance.
We'll proceed with it as a permanent part-time position.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry, it did come back to me. So in the original discussions, when Biz was here and the whole thing came up about the part-timer, one thing is the conflict of duties, because I
yes.
issue all the bills and I make all the payments and I do all the abatements. So recently, the water department, they had a part-time person and she's gone now. She was doing Abington and Rockland. So what they did is the girl that supports Rockland and the one that supports Abington are actually doing the opposite
Gross.
when it comes to the other work besides the billing,
Yeah.
until they get someone. So everybody has a separation of duties except for sewer.
Oh.
So that was one of the considerations.
That's
So that's
a good
good.
reason.
Thank you.
This Wednesday is, the finance committee is meeting to start the budget process.
Are you talking tomorrow?
Yes, tomorrow. Robin, have you received anything for the budget at all? Have they? All right, because I'm
No.
not, I don't really know how that works, so I'm gonna attend that meeting, and I just didn't know
Thank
if
you.
had gotten anything.
I haven't received anything yet.
Thank
I'll
you.
let you know when I find out.
What time next Wednesday?
This, at tomorrow, 7 p.m.
Oh, it's at in the evening, okay.
At the town hall.
Yes, lower level. And I don't think they tell them, I don't know if they record it or not.
I imagine they do.
Okay, so I might as well put it out there. This is the time of year that you do the year-end report too. That's something that the superintendent does,
Oh, great.
and there isn't one, so. Merry Christmas.
I'll take care of it. Don't worry.
Year-end, which goes into.
Give me an example and I'll take care of it.
That goes into the annual report, is that the one?
Mhm.
Year-end, yeah.
We need $50 million for the house.
Yeah, this is actually a little bit of a busy time of year right now for a few minutes. Is there anything else?
Yeah.
That's I could think of.
All right.
Thank you.
So if you're gonna, so you have a few more things to cover, because I'm working on the warrant.
Yeah.
I didn't think I was gonna have a warrant, and then this morning, things came flooding in, so I,
No, and if you don't, I come back later and sign, I'm around, or I can be here first thing tomorrow morning.
yeah, I'm in the middle of it, so let me see if I can finish it before you leave, and
Okay,
if
if you
not,
can't, I'll be
take
here
you up
first
on
thing
that.
tomorrow morning.
all right.
I just made a note, double check, I'm gonna send you that thing from, Chris on 601, so you have that for the file.
Yeah, I think that it would be good if you copied me, like, just try to be cognizant of that, that way I will have all the information.
No, I did, this one here was just between, that one that was running in between things, I didn't, and
Yeah.
I wanted you to put it, and I just slipped.
Yeah,
I'll get that to you as soon as I get home.
so just so you know, stuff like that, I put with the address. All the files are by address, not by people's names.
Makes
They're all
sense.
by address, and you can go back and see if something happened,
Okay.
all right? Thank you.
Thank you, Robin.
Okay, look down, we have nothing to do. Priorities for future working session meetings.
I have no list.
Okay, I think personally, the ones that we got on the fire, on the open that are just dangling out there, I'd like to get done is the rules and regs and get that ordinance off the table. Then after that, the first thing I think we should tackle is fees.
Yeah, I'd like to.
Being, should we do a small rate increase in January?
So let's discuss the fees, yeah?
For what, permits and stuff? Fees,
Development fees,
Everything.
yeah.
everything.
I want to just take a look at that whole fee structure. The fee structure, what I'd like to do is have something viable that can stand the test of time for developers and a way of increasing, decreasing hopefully someday. But we're not making money on I&I. We're losing our shirt.
Absolutely not, yeah.
So that has to be addressed. I mean, we gotta start bringing in income sooner rather than later. And one of the other items, we gotta look at somewhat easing up on this moratorium. After we hit that 67,000 mark,
Yeah.
we gotta start bringing in some new development. So what else you come up with a list?
So, under the ordinance, we have, some procedures to do up for the plant tour.
Okay,
That's an
ordinance, okay.
easy, low-hanging fruit. The Form S, and I'm gonna need some help with that, probably from you guys and Robin.
What is
to
that
sit
for,
down.
us one more
So
time?
Form S is gonna be the form for the sewer department as a project comes before us, where we can document all the steps that we need to take. And these are all the points that everybody just seems to know, that tribal knowledge, and I think it needs to be documented.
It
When
should
did they
be,
come before us? When
absolutely.
did we see the plans? Did we give them the permit? You know, the fees, when did the fees get paid? How much I&I? Are they on the whole
Historical progression,
soup to nuts, start to finish on a project.
okay.
And I know Robin just mentioned something about how that opens the shell or the page
Yep.
or whatever. You know, we can see I don't know what she has, I'll be honest, but I think this is a good addition, or maybe take the place of, so that you just have a cover sheet on the whole package.
Okay, no, I
And at
agree.
any given time, you know what's happening with it.
Okay, now.
I think that'll solve a lot of these pop-up problems.
Okay, how do we want to do this? Go down through your list and prioritize them?
Yeah, I'd like to just start with that list of how this project's move through
Okay.
the sewer department.
So what
And all the
about,
things that we need to do about it.
I think we should though, at each meeting, maybe like, I don't know, we do it now or right after Christmas. An item on every agenda should be the fees. I really do. We got to really,
so it's just someone puts a dish on, you put a bathroom in,
anything,
you
fees,
got a fee for that.
and the user rates too. I think someone brought up the discussion, I think it was Robin, smaller increases rather than a big nail. I mean, when that rate study comes out,
I mean, when is it coming out?
April,
Definitely, it's been a while.
I thought we were gonna have a draft this month.
but I think we're going to need something prior to. I really honestly think we need a small bang
We're supposed to get a draft of that in December.
We're supposed to get a draft at the end of December,
Yeah.
then it's a 60-day play around, that's why I said April.
Well, we just go up 2 or 3%.
Well, I was thinking 3%, but let's take a look at that. Let's look at it where it is. I'm putting together, one of my things to do, I wanted to look at where all the towns are around us, what their rates are. I wanna look at that. I know we're gonna be higher, but, I mean, the system has just been neglected, and we're trying to recover from 17 years. And I know people can't afford it. I can't afford it, but,
I'd like to talk about the superintendent position again.
you know.
Really dive into that.
Superintendent
Where are
positions.
these ads out? Let's look at the job description. Is there something that we can fill? A position interim that maybe doesn't meet all those things that we need in a full
I
superintendent,
mean,
but can start taking over some of this.
can we get somebody
Inspection.
part-time?
Yeah, anything. So,
I know.
yeah, that kind of a,
Yeah.
What
mean,
I looked
somebody
at
else-
is I
alternate
also,
discussion.
I sent an email to Stacy asking her to put it on to Netlink as well.
good, good.
Netlink, what they do is they look at everyone they have and reach out to them and do their own searching.
So, I mean, some people could have retired from another sewer treatment plant and just wants a part-time job, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Right, just to fill, because we have a big gap and, well, we know. We should wrap up the website redesign. That's easy. And one of the things that,
When we get somebody part-time, we might not have to pay benefits. You know,
yeah, possible, possible.
because it might be on the, if they're retired,
Okay, if I know someone, but,
you know, they're covered by their own benefits.
all right,
I'm wondering if it would be helpful to make a list of the plant repairs that we're looking at, these things that Rick comes in and says, oh, this one just blew up, or, you know, this is looking to be in worse shape. I know the whole system needs attention, but more
Yes.
urgent repairs,
Well, what we're
If we
doing
could-
is, we have an asset list, and I've asked Rick to go through that
yeah,
and basically come up with something like that. One thing that did come up is the generator. We've been informed the generator, the main generator, is beyond repair.
right,
Cannot be repaired.
right.
We're paying $9,500 a month for that. I sent Doug an email this morning saying, okay, here's the specs of a generator. We were just informed it cannot be repaired. And I know before he said he could only do it if it was an emergency. Well, to me, this is now an emergency. But if he has to, if he comes back and says, you gotta go out to bid, the specs are there, we
Great,
could put it out to bid right now.
and then we gotta pay for it. What I'm thinking is if we can get this list of these urgent plant repairs and prioritize them, and then start thinking about the funding. We have a select person that has offered to go find grants and funding for us. Let's give her the list, and
Who was that?
Ms. Childs,
Careful.
she has offered to help us.
Okay, what else you got?
Uh,
Well, sooner or later, when what CWMP comes in, based on when you get the CWMP in a facility study, is when you usually start looking at, okay, plant design.
I'm just worried about the pools back here.
Yeah, they're a critical need,
I
but
mean, but they're,
that'll come under the equipment list that
Yeah.
Sherry said, but those are a major lead concern, especially with the amount of ferric going in there for the phosphorus.
I mean, because they said that where you got the shut-off gates and stuff.
You can't get at it, you can't shut off the gates.
I know, can't shut them off, plus if you get to move the concrete moves. So that's,
Well, that, if you remember, the
That's-
facility study is where Wright Pierce said if we're gonna have a critical failure, that's gonna be where it is.
right.
So Rick is prepared to address that, he's got backup plans, in place, but once you have the CWMP and your facility study, that's what you generate. Okay, what does a new plant consist of?
Right, that's the
So
big
that is
plan.
going to be a major project, that is going to, whether any of us are all on the board or not, what's gonna have to comply, that is, you're gonna have to have hire an engineering team, and you're gonna have to put together a panel.
Oh, yeah, that's a big project.
That's a serious, like the engineer and Rick and who's ever on the board can come up and say, okay, here's what we need. But then it's up to that board to discuss where it fits in, how it, can this footprint withhold it? There's a lot to it. That's a
See, I thought
5-year
big the
project.
I'm thinking about the interim between now and that big
I know,
project,
yeah.
as, you know, this.
But
pump
see, anything
fails
you,
or that
anything you do in repairs now has to make sure that it's gonna be compliant and work with any future designs. You have to keep that future design. You can't just say, okay, you know what, I'm gonna replace that digester.
No.
Where does it fit in the big plan?
True, but if you have a pump fail,
A pump is
Back
a
up
pump is
I don't-
a small,
you know.
small potato item on.
okay,
But when you look at a plant, I mean, it may, look at the generator, that's a $200,000, $300,000 item.
yeah.
You're talking some heavy change in this equipment. This is not like building a library or building a school or a fire department. There's some high-end technical equipment that's gonna go into this. Now, just for example, the price tag that Wright Pierce gave us was $50 million.
Yeah.
That's before anyone even thought of the word COVID.
Yeah,
So I think with those prices, just that 50 million, you're looking at, just put ink to paper today, would be around 75 million. Being the cost of materials and labor.
Everything's gone out of
And now we're looking 5 years out, 4 to 5 years out, but this facility's not gonna last the 4 to 5 years. So it's gonna have to be phased in. And the very first thing we're gonna have to deal with is that phosphorus, that tertiary system in phosphorus. I mean, that, we should be getting that report from Rick and Veolia next month. That's gonna take some real reading on that. It's gonna have some recommendations on a tertiary system, and we could do some preliminary nitpicking on it. But
over there.
that's gonna have to go to a design firm to say, okay, here's what we have, here's what our data show, what are you recommending? That's gonna have to go out to bid, because it's gonna be like making a cake. There's a million different recipes out there. We're gonna have to get, again, we're gonna have to look at a process that'll fit within this footprint.
We're gonna make this footprint bigger.
Hmm?
Can they make this footprint bigger going that way?
Well, there's a lot of things you gotta consider. The big thing too is odor. And again, how much do you wanna put into phosphorus? I mean, you're probably looking at, I projected just the system for the phosphorus alone. Last year, I'm just putting quick numbers on paper, I came down with 500,000. Now things are still going up, and that's without knowing the data that Rick has generated from this phosphorus study out back. And once you get into the chemistry of that, it's gonna be.
Sorry, can I interrupt?
Sure.
All right, this is the draft changes I did receive from Sherry. I mean, not from Sherry, from Stacy. So the draft changes is what I returned to her. I changed the essential
Oh, great.
functions, so if you wanna review that.
Super,
Okay,
yeah.
So
thank you.
with that, like I said, that you're easily looking at $500,000 for just the phosphorus. And again, we gotta make sure that, and I'm talking out loud, that system would fit in with long-term plans, which is why you're gonna need an engineering firm.
I just wondered if you could, because the pools are in tough shape. If you build them down here off to the side, you might be better off than.
What are you looking at? Once you start talking moving that stuff,
I know.
no, you don't, just so you know
It's all-
that you gotta get Mass
All
DEP.
connected, yeah.
Yeah, DEP, and you gotta remember, this facility is underground too, there's a lot
Yes,
to it,
yes. I know,
so.
I know, Chris, when they did the big dig, our manholes had to suspend Edison gas and the phone companies, manholes had to suspend.
And a lot of people in
cable
town,
hold them up.
a lot of people in town have never been to, they don't know there's a whole facility underground
Oh,
here.
yeah.
So what else you got now, Liz, since we're not doing anything?
They have,
That's pretty much
they
it.
have COs underground.
Can Can we ask our vendors for statements for what's due versus what we've paid? Like maybe a year-end thing?
Yeah, I could have,
I think that would help in forecasting.
well, it's funny you brought that up. You heard me on the phone with Veolia on Wilkinson. I have some issues there that I'm gonna address this week.
For the Wilkinson.
Yeah, they're doing the adjust the boiler.
I-
All right, anything else?
That'll do it.
All right. With that, I'll take a motion in the meeting. Before you would, if you could let me know, both of you in writing, that next Wednesday afternoon's all
I will
right.
let you know when I get home.
I would like to know if we could do it around 1 o'clock. Cause I'll be squeezing it in around babysitting.
Okay.
Or if you don't need me,
Bring
you guys
Junior
do
with
it.
us. Bring
No,
Junior.
he's in the terrible twos. He's gonna be lucky if he's
I
a nice
gotta
papa.
bring terrible tools through here.
With that, I'll take a motion to end today's meeting.
I make the motion to end the meeting.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor, Mr.
Yes,
DeRoss?
Yes.
Why'd you say so quick? You wanna think about it?
No,
Ms. Valley?
Yes.
And Mr. Hashins, yes. It's 3 unanimous votes.